Jaya Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Kunja Bihari Radha Kunja Bihari Hare Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Balaji, Mai Subhadra. Jai Srinathji, Jai Balagopal, Jai Srinathji, Jai Giri Govardhan. Jaya Gaurani Jaya Jaya Gaurani Jaya Jaya Gaurani Jaya Jaya Gaurani Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Vishnupada Paramahamsa Radhikacharya Astotra Satya Shishimada's Divine Grace, Founder of ISKCON Abhay Charanaravindra Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ritraj Shrimadbhagavatam Ki Jai, Their Most Merciful Lordship Shri Shri Radhakunja Bihari Ki Jai, Shri Jagannath Shri Baladeva Subhadra Ki Jai, Shri Nathaji Shri Balagopal Ki Jai, Shri Shri Gauranitai Ki Jai, Nitai Gauri. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the Lord and Spirit of Shri Shri Guru and Shri Guru Maharaj. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye nastaprayashu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhagavati naishtaki. Reading from Shrimadbhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, Text 10, I believe, today. Right. Krishnam cha tat prabhava gya Krishnam cha tat prabhava gya Asinam Jagat Ishwaram Asinam Jagat Ishwaram Riddhi Stam Pujayam Asa Riddhi Stam Pujayam Asa Maya Yopart Pata Vigraham Maya Yopata Vigraham Krishnam Chatat Prabhavagya Asinam Jagarishwaram Riddhishtam Pujayam Asa Maya Yopata Vigraham Krishnam Chatat Prabhavagya Asinam Jagadishwaram Riddhishtam Pujayamasa Maya Yopata Vigraham We're at chapter 9, text 10.
Krishnam Chatat Prabhavagya
Krishnam Chatat Prabhavagya
Asinam
Jagat Ishwaram
Riddhishtam Pujayam Asha
Riddhishtam Pujayam Asa Maya Yopata Vigraham Krishnam Chatat Prabhavagya Asinam Jagadishwaram Riddhishtam Pujayamasa Maya Yopata Vigraham Krishna unto Lord Sri Krishna Cha also Tat of him Prabhavagya the knower of the glories Ishma Asinam sitting Jagadishwaram the Lord of the universe Riddhishtam situated in the heart Pujayamasa worshipped Maya by internal potency Upata manifested Vigraham a form Krishnam Chatat Prabhavagya Asinam Jagadishwaram Riddhishtam Pujayamasa Maya Yopata Vigraham. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charnadavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Lord Sri Krishna is situated in everyone's heart, yet He manifests His transcendental form by His internal potency. This very Lord was sitting before Bhishma Dev And since Bhishma Dev knew of his glories, he worshipped him duly. Please repeat. Lord Sri Krishna, is situated in everyone's heart, yet he manifests his transcendental form by his internal potency. This very Lord was sitting before Bhishma Dev. And since Bhishma Dev knew of his glories, he worshipped him duly. Lord Sri Krishna is situated in everyone's heart, yet he manifests his transcendental form by his internal potency. This very Lord was sitting before Bhishma Dev, and since Bhishma Dev knew of his glories, he worshipped him duly. Purport. The Lord's omnipotency is displayed by his simultaneous presence in every place. He's present always in his eternal abode, Goloka Vrindavan. And still, he is present in everyone's heart, and even within every invisible atom. When he manifests his eternal transcendental form in the material world, he does so by his internal potency. The external potency, or the material energy, has nothing to do with his eternal form. All these truths were known to Sri Bhishma Dev, who worshipped him accordingly. Om Jnana Timiranda Shila Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshusundalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. How much more perfect a place to be situated than where Grandfather Bhishma is, right next to Krishna at the time of leaving his body. Here he is in full realization of who Krishna is as well. So with proper situation in his consciousness, recognizing Krishna as the Supreme Person. So very rarely we are seeing that even amongst Krishna's immediate associates that he's giving his darshan to, rarely they are recognizing him for who he is. And here Bhishma Dev is revealing that he is in full knowledge of who Krishna is. As he's waiting for the proper time, it is a revelation, is it a revealing that Krishna from within gives knowledge of that moment. This couldn't be something he read about in a book of when he's going to leave his body and wait till that moment. He had to watch, he's keeping time with, oh boy, got a few more minutes. This was internal knowledge he was receiving from Krishna as he was in a state of worship towards Krishna as well. So simultaneously, while we're performing these activities, we have to remember Krishna sharing these bodies with us is the force that is enabling us to engage in the activities. And as such, he is giving us these activities to be able to come closer and closer to him. And in that consciousness also that we have, duly recognizing Krishna for who he is, we can know that at every moment he's there giving us inner consciousness, realizations, and communion, which is what the real feeding of the soul is. As it says, every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God, this is food for the soul. So we were talking this morning, Kuna Prabhu and I, about the situation the earth is in. Modern science is looking at the earth as going around the sun. But the Jyotish Shastra is giving us the understanding that the earth is standing still. And I questioned about this in my mind, and I went to Krishna about it this morning. See, if Lord Chaitanya is the Yuga avatar, he's the Yuga because the whole universe is experiencing the Yuga called Kali Yuga. So he's not only the Yuga avatar of the earth, he's the Yuga avatar of the entire universe. And now, if those in the heavenly, topmost planetary systems that saw with Lord Brahma coming here, and they're coming to observe Krishna's pastimes, they have full knowledge of Krishna's Dharma than those that were observing the Dharma being given. So this is our connection to them as well. When this relationship of the earth is restored to the heavenly planets, communication will begin to happen again. That's why I was in question yesterday. The vision that was being looked at by the devotees of New Vrindavan in the 70s and the 80s. And I don't know if they dropped it after that or what's going on now. But the vision was that there would be 7 temples on 7 hills that would be that would be visiting places for demigods to come and offer with pure gold arti paraphernalia. This was the vision that was being promoted by the devotees who were serving in New Vrindavan. I was inquiring whether that vision was given by Kirtananda or whether it was from Srila Prabhupada. And either way, it seems to be evident of the reality that the earth is going to be restored to a place where demigods will visit. And now we're actually seeing, even on the planet, so many reports of quote-unquote aliens. We're just as much alien to this planet as anybody else is, just because we're taking this short period of time here. This false ego that everybody else is alien except us. That's a real false ego, actually, when you think about it. As if to say that we own this planet. But we don't, and we're just passing through here just like we've passed through so many other millions and millions of species of life, and who knows on what planets we were on previously. But the Dharma being given for all souls, it seems evident to me that there has to be other planets in the universe that Krishna has given this Dharma to. And that means, for this age, the chanting of the holy names. Now, if this chanting is in and of itself as Krishna is God, and it is He who is giving this most secretive and simple way of getting back to Him, it doesn't appear to me as if He would change it for another planet. So this is our means of communion between the Sanskrit language again can link us to them. So that this mantras that are being put into our minds when we go on the altar, it's all Sanskrit. And after you start putting these mantras into your mind over and over and over again, when you stop chanting them, they still continue going on. They just happen automatically. Waking up in the morning, of course, we offer obeisances to spiritual master. We offer obeisances to Lord Vishnu and his wife, who is Mother Devi. But without trying, just Hare Krishna pops into the mind. you're not even trying, it just happens, you know. And it's the freeing energy that Krishna is constantly revealing to us in Bhagavatam to make us aware of the difference between the spiritual energy and the material energy. Because even as devotees, we're constantly wavering, kind of like a sound vibration, from moment to moment, with thought to thought, about things in the world. We've been born into, given a language that we communicate with, this form of preconceived conceptions in our minds, some of which are real, some of which are not. So we kind of go using the language that we create conceptualizations in our mind with. We go from one thought to another. And Krishna is revealing the significance of holding our thoughts, restraining our mind by the constant chanting to free the mind. And at first it seems like a task or a chore being pushed upon us that we have to do out of like a responsibility. But after a while, it becomes the nectar of life. It's the communion with the source of all. It's the connection that we're longing for and everything else that we've been looking for in the world to find pleasure with. Krishna is that satisfaction of experience we're longing, the soul longs for. As hungry as we get through the day for this food, the soul has that thousands of times over for that getting close to Krishna. That grandfather Bhishma is there, his leaving moment. And Krishna is giving him that darshan to be able to have that perfection of leaving at the right time, so that his mind is fully focused, having nothing else in his mind, looking upon Krishna's face, like he was on the battlefield. To see that relationship with Krishna that he's having. When we look at Krishna, we don't look to find some satisfaction for the eyes, but the satisfaction the soul gains by relationship with Krishna. It's a different tendency to look at Krishna, to think of him as someone to satisfy us, but rather to look at him as so satisfying that you can't help but look away. You don't have to seek for it as to be satisfied by it. It immediately satisfies with perfection, that longing. And that's what the soul is longing for in this pursuit in the material world, without knowing or having the ability to distinguish between the material energy and the spiritual energy. So Krishna lets souls go through what they believe to be the perfection of gaining control of the material energy. That's what some forms of yoga are for. Hatha yoga, perfecting the body, the physical body, which can also be a fall down. It can also aggrandize the soul's belief in its own abilities, its own power, and this is all false ego. And so we approach these sciences in their application of our bodies, our physical bodies, to the use in the performance of bhakti. And so while we're engaged in that bhakti, the instruction is we keep our minds fully focused upon the purest thoughts of looking towards Krishna in a way that is pleasing to Krishna, that makes him want to offer us the continuance and empower us. And it was such a wonderful presentation yesterday to see that devotees are getting the governess, the representatives, some cases, and people who are in the echelon of society who are making decisions towards, you might say the unifying forces of society that are functioning. I want, like anything, to be able to make contact with the right leaders for them to realize the means to create cities without sin. Sin meaning the breaking of the laws that are established in the minds and the hearts of all the participants of the legal state established by humanity. But see, without spiritual knowledge, laws only give us a certain limited amount of experience of cooperation amongst ourselves. And without God, there's no love. And so without love, there's no satisfaction. And without satisfaction, there's no impetus for people to want to engage. So you get dissatisfaction. People are dissatisfied. They may work 10, 15, 20 years of their life before they realize what they're doing is not actually something they want to do. And that can be a problem in society. Then when people get frustrated enough, as Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, they get so frustrated that anger arises. And then after that, then they become delusioned. That anger will drive them to do things, just like fear will drive people to do things that they wouldn't ordinarily do. That's what's called paranoia. And so why Krishna is giving us so much knowledge about everything is to become totally free from any form of anxiety that we cause to ourselves. And that's what self-realization brings to us, the awareness of what we put ourselves through the day. By gaining Krishna consciousness, then we have the means of being objective of what we're doing. See, false ego blinds us to our weaknesses, to our inabilities to perform in a certain way, and in that way, thinking ourselves as being almighty and all-powerful and the determinator of everything, we cut ourselves off from guidance. We cut ourselves off from someone being able to cut through and say, look, this could be done a little better. This could be done this way or that way. Just like the four regulative principles. People are thinking, as human beings, born into a place called the United States, which gives us full right and privilege to do whatever we want, as long as we don't break human laws and cause interference with other people's doings. But with that kind of consciousness, leaves the person with the belief that they are the doer. We are believing ourselves to be the controllers of our destiny, the controllers, and we're being instructed by the Vedas to, quote unquote, control the mind. But without control of the mind, then, the activities lack. So what activities we might believe ourselves to find happiness with, if it's not based on spiritual advancement of the soul, we're not going to become as satisfied, and we're not going to become as able to control the senses of the physical body that we want to be able to have control of. There's control of the physical body that gives us better use of these physical bodies that enable us to engage in all these activities, no matter what we want to engage in as a profession. Even if we want to count numbers as an accountant, or be a CEO somewhere, or lead a manufacturing corporation, or give guidance to people in specific areas. Perfecting the senses of the body, or engaging in life in such a way that it enables our senses to working as one body, function more perfectly than it would otherwise. So the people who are breaking the regulative principles, believing that to be a source of happiness, don't realize they're shortening their lifespan, they're depleting their abilities of their body physically to be able to function the way nature made it to be able to function. When you interfere with the digestive system, digestion and the process the body goes through is a whole science, even the science of medicine, knowing how all these things function and how they function to their perfection. So we agree that the body is like a machine, as they call the movings of the organs of the body. What do they call it? The plumbing, right? The heart, the liver, all these things. Which for a layperson who doesn't involve themselves with knowing about the functions of the body, the medicinal aspects of foods rarely enter their minds. Most people eat based on their tongue, what they want the flavor of now at this moment, which means they're being led and guided by the senses of the body, the tongue. Now, in Krishna consciousness, as you know, by taking part in our spiritual activities, almost everybody's eating the same meal, eating the same foods, same time. See, and his culture is such that the whole of society could be sharing their meals together. If we reach into public schools, the kids from the youngest ages start getting food made with love that is prepared purposely for the means of being able to develop pure love. Now, if there's any restaurant in the world that you can show me besides a Govinda that's connected to Krishna consciousness somehow, that is preparing their food with the preparers having in mind to experience pure love in their preparing of food. I don't know of any. I've worked in restaurants. I've worked at McDonald's. I worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken. Never was there a mention in any of the explanation of how the food is being prepared, of how you should have a pure, loving heart in order to be qualified to be able to prepare this food. And so this is what Krishna consciousness is offering automatically. And what happens to the food, it becomes medicinally valuable to the advancement of the soul. The real medicine is not only the changing the symptoms evident in the physical body, but the real cure of keeping the body from having to experience that again. And so that's where sin then is. It said love covers a multitude of sins. But the force that love is such that can change even the outer covering of the universal force that has us bound to the results of our karmic activities, our karmic actions in the external energy, which is automatic. It's like people are wanting this thing, that thing, which Srila Prabhupada explains, automatically it's going to come to you. What is deserved by you in this world, it's going to come anyways. It's going to come. You don't have to ask for it. You don't have to make any endeavors for it. You get what you got coming to you when you came here at birth. It's already known what you're going to get. But it doesn't mean we don't make the endeavor to become pure souls. And that's the endeavor by the engagement in the activities that will produce that end result, that we get that end result. So just by following the instructions of the spiritual master, automatically all the benefits without the desire for them are added to the result of the activities without the devotee having in his mind that he won't serve without those things. I won't do this without having that thing. Nobody develops pure love. I want to serve Krishna no matter what the circumstances. That's where love comes in. That's what love has the quality of. And this is a perfect opportunity being given to us to Krishna under such favorable circumstances, working among such loving people that have the same desires to develop pure love for God. That's the perfect environment to be in. And then with all the privileges being offered that we can take part in, then we experience what life is meant for. Real happiness, joy. Not some artificial thing produced by putting some chemical in the body, but by developing a form of consciousness that leads us into that eternal energy that is a constant experience. This happiness, this feeling of ecstasy. In other words, the soul is not made of that substance of joy and ecstasy. Sometimes it's made of that all the time. It's what we are. It's what we are all the time. So in our pursuit to find something else than what we are by going out into the material world, we're finding suffering and hoping to find happiness. Not knowing that we are made, the substance we're made of is found by this chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Hare. He's always with us. We're always there. Now in the temple, we have the opportunity to at every moment to be experiencing the highest forms of love and to know what human life is meant to be experiencing. That's what's being made available. That's what Grandfather Bhishma is revealing in his relationship with Krishna, is his love for Krishna. And every aspect that he has seen in Krishna's personal presence, that he has seen Krishna through his whole life. And Krishna was 125 years on this planet when he was engaged in that battle of Kurukshetra. So he and Arjuna and all of those were about the same age. But they're not revealing old age decrepitness in the age of 100. Which one of us at 125 years old will be thinking about joining the army, military? And yet this is the age that these members of these armies were considered to be of mature age at that stage of development. Now we're looking at maturity to be 20 years old, 21 years old, 18 years old. That's what we're crediting maturity. And proof of that maturity for the child in his mind to prove that he's mature now. He can cuss, he can go to the bar, he can do all these activities which are the breaking of the regulative principle. This is what success is being looked at in minds and putting in the minds of young people who watch movies, who have heroes of this nature. Their success with their millions of dollars that they make is having a fine car and a beautiful woman sitting next to them, steak on their plate, which they don't know will be the cause of extreme suffering. It's sad. What we can see can be experienced by the human form of life as compared to what is being experienced by most of the human beings who are running around looking to fulfill what they think to be some dire need. Gotta have it right now. Lust, driving us, moving us to perform activities in a world that we think we're taking control of. And it's all activities of false ego. And simply by turning all that activity and endeavor towards the proper place, then we can find that satisfaction we're looking for, that love which we need to be driven by. It's this love that's going to free us from the karmic reactions. And it's only love of God that can give us that freedom. These mantras in this, the nectar of instruction, very enlivening, enlightening, and very much a prod for us through today to think about, because they are a part of this perfection of the Vedas. One should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of Lord Krishna. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation and is engaged in worshiping the deity. And one should associate with and faithfully serve that pure devotee who is advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. And see, automatically, when a soul, doesn't matter who it is, they step foot in the temple of Srila Prabhupada and they learn to offer obeisance, they're fulfilling what this is making a request for us to do. And we're seeing the purity of Srila Prabhupada is that which can be respected by everyone. This is what was a wonderful display last night of a community activity in order to glorify the activities of a soul who has done nothing more than glorify God. This is what Brahma is given 4 mouths to do, because he uses them all the way they're meant to be used for. And so he has the desire so strongly to be able to chant more of Krishna's name, which is revealed in the life of Namacharya Haridas Thakur, chanting 180 some rounds a day or amazing. Amazing. But we can see in this what it produces. Being situated in his original Krishna conscious position, a pure devotee does not identify with the body. Such a devotee should not be seen from a materialistic point of view. Indeed, one should overlook a devotee's having been a body born in a low family, a body with a bad complexion, a deformed body, or a diseased or infirm body. According to ordinary vision, such imperfections may seem prominent in the body of a pure devotee. But despite such seeming defects, the body of a pure devotee cannot be polluted. It is exactly like the waters of the Ganges, which sometimes during the rainy season are full of bubbles, foam, and mud. The Ganges waters do not become polluted. Those who are advanced in spiritual understanding will bathe in the Ganges without considering the condition of the water. You can bathe in the Ganges, a stool will float right by it. We were bathing in the Ganges, this huge turtle. He was swimming like he was doing somersaults like in the water, like this coming down. Everybody just jumps out of the water. These things have mouths like this big, they can take your whole leg and shrink. But these are elevated souls that are swimming from that which is emanating from the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. That's what these waters are. The holy name, character, pastimes, and activities of Krishna are all transcendently sweet, like sugar candy. Although the tongue of one afflicted by the jaundice of avidya, ignorance, we're talking about the soul now. Although the tongue of one afflicted by the jaundice of avidya cannot taste anything sweet, it is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting these sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within his tongue, and his disease is gradually destroyed. Root. See, this is what we're talking about, the root. The root is the cause. The root is the basis, the source of life. And when we get to the root of the cause of sinful activity, then we destroy sin altogether. The essence of all advice is that one should utilize one's full time, 24 hours a day, in nicely chanting and remembering the Lord's divine name, transcendental form, qualities, and eternal pastimes, thereby gradually engaging one's tongue and mind. In this way, one should reside in Braja Goloka Vrindavan Dham and serve Krishna under the guidance of devotees. One should follow in the footsteps of the Lord's beloved devotees who are deeply attached to his devotional service. Now, this says, in this way, one should reside in Braja. Doesn't mean you got to buy a ticket and go there. No, but by the activities of Krishna consciousness, which invokes Krishna's presence, which is Vrindavan. When you bring Krishna with you, by reciting his name, you bring Vrindavan with you. You bring Vaikuntha with you, the absence of anxiety. So that's why Jayapataka Maharaj says, if we're not crying for Krishna, then we should be crying that we're not crying for Krishna. If we're not crying that we're not crying for Krishna, then we should be crying that we're not crying that we're not crying. The holy place known as Mathura is spiritually superior to Vaikuntha, the transcendental world, because the Lord appeared there. Superior to Mathura Puri is the transcendental forest of Vrindavan, because of Krishna's Rasa Leela pastimes. And superior to the forest of Vrindavan is Govardhan Hill, for it was raised by the divine hand of Sri Krishna and was the site of his various loving pastimes. And, above all, the super excellent Sri Radhakund stands supreme, for it is over-flooded with the ambrosial nectarian prema of the Lord of Gokula, Sri Krishna. Where then is that intelligent person who is unwilling to serve this divine Radhakund, which is situated at the foot of Govardhan Hill? And see, this is why, Tirthapada told me this is why Krishna appreciated much more Lord Indra's bringing down of the rain than Lord Brahma's stealing of the cowherd boy. The Rasa Leela pastimes was why, which was not able to be done by Lord Brahma, with Lord Brahma. This is text 10 of the Nectar of Instruction. In the Shastra it is said, and this is advising us to read this every day. In the Shastra it is said that of all types of fruitive workers, he who is advanced in knowledge of the higher values of life is favored by the Supreme Lord Hari. Out of many such people who are advanced in knowledge, jnanis, one who is practically liberated by virtue of his knowledge may take to devotion service. Do we see what is being said here? This opportunity that we have been given to engage in devotional service, we should not look at as ordinary work. Krishna is making a statement here as to the quality required for one to enter into devotional service. And so he is picking you out of all the souls. He's picking you to engage in this service. One who is practically liberated by virtue of his knowledge may take to this devotional service. He is superior to the others. However, one who has actually attained prema, pure love of Krishna, is superior to him. The gopis are exalted above all the advanced devotees because they are always totally dependent upon Sri Krishna, the transcendental cowherd boy. Among the gopis, Shrimati Radharani is the most dear to Krishna. Her Kund lake is as profoundly dear to Lord Krishna, by the way, which she carved out with her bangles, as this most beloved of the gopis. Who then will not reside at Radha Kund and in a spiritual body surcharged with ecstatic devotional feelings, aprakrita bhava, rendered loving service to the divine couple Sri Radha Govinda, who perform their Asta Kalaya Leela, their eternal eightfold daily pastimes. Indeed, those who execute devotional service on the banks of Radha Kund are the most fortunate people in the universe. But see, this is the quality of the service that we are being offered as well. This same connection. Shrimati Radharani is the one who is allowing us to cook in the kitchen. It is her craft. She is the source of the knowledge of how to prepare foods for Krishna. I'm going to tell you something now, you might not believe it, but it's true. In all of creation, in all of existence, she's not served the same meal to Krishna, cooking for Krishna. Can you imagine that? This is eternal we're talking about, eternal pastime. So, how amazing it is in her. Just think about her repertoire of cooking facility she has in her mind to make preparations for Krishna. And this is what we can aim for. We will never reach that totality because still she's also advancing. Krishna consciousness is ever advancing. Even in eternity, as they look at in each other's eyes, their appreciation for each other, their love towards each other is ever increasing. Imagine that. Keep that in your mind through the day and realize how happy our experience of love for Krishna should be, that he has granted us this privilege to become free from the otherwise control of that energy. It is the external energy, the external energy that we have been looking after to try and find satisfaction with. Now Krishna is going to give us the freedom from and undo our handcuffs from the material energy. It's over time today. Any comments, any questions, any realizations, anything anyone would like to share? If you will, please speak into the microphone so we can all hear you. The world is waiting for your request to hear more about the Supreme Personality of God.
I really like what you said about that we're dependent on the chanting. Can you talk about a little bit more that?
Wow. See, that dependence, that's just the very point being brought out about the gopis, isn't it? They're always finding themselves dependent on Krishna. And that's Mother Kunti's prayer also, that she wants to be in that place of dependence all the time. So she's willing to put herself in requesting, bring on the dangers if you want, Krishna, because it's at those times that I seek you more wholly, more wholeheartedly, than at other times when I'm finding myself pacified and happy and content. But see, even in that state, we can be appreciating and glorifying Krishna. So you can have a secret place as well, that you can, if it seems out of place when there's too many people around, find a secret place and chant these mantras and experience what they are themselves speaking about. The bhava of Krishna, the love that has moved every spiritual movement that has ever been developed in the world for the purpose of finding God has been moved by the power of love. But Srimati Radharani is in perfection, that power of love, and our source. So she is showing that dependence on Krishna for her existence, for everything, it's all she thinks about. Everything she sees, she thinks about Krishna when she sees a peacock feather. Anything she can see, it will remind her of Krishna. That's how dependent. That's how we can see Krishna in everything. Just keep the mind focused. That's the basic tenet. That's what my mind means. Undivided attention, ekanta. One concentrated energy. Jai. Grantaraj Shrimadbhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.